Tesla, they have begun doing robotaxi drives in Austin, Texas. So this is the beginning of their robotaxi service. Some people are saying it's a joke, and others are saying it's great. The stock price says it's great. Investors are saying this is a good thing. Tesla's stock price has gone up by quite a lot, in fact. I met a few people on the weekend in Noosa. A couple of them had millions of dollars in Tesla stock, so they're going to be super happy about this. But there is some good and some bad. Let's have a look at both of them, and I want to know what you guys think. Guys, as you know, I think I'm kind of in the middle here. There's one camp that just hates Tesla and they just say anything negative about them. There's another camp that absolutely loves them and just says everything positive about them. But in this video, I'm going to look at both sides of the success or not success of Tesla's robotaxi service in America. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. Great to have you with us. Guys, love to see you at the Melbourne EV show. It's in a few days, this weekend. I'll put a link in the description for 25% discount off your tickets. Tesla's successful debut of its robotaxi service has been, to be honest, mostly met with positivity, except for some expected negativity from sites like Electric and in fact from some Chinese critics, one of Tesla's rivals. They have kind of slammed Tesla, saying this is not very good. I'll get to that in a minute. First of all, I actually think this was a good result. I think it's gone a little slower than I'd hoped for personally, but I do think the vehicles can drive better than what people say. And the reason I say that is because I have watched, I don't know, maybe 50 videos. I've watched a lot of videos particularly from Mars catalog, but from a few channels showing Tesla full self-driving, and I've done it myself when I was in California in a Cybertruck and in a Model 3. But I've seen these videos, and they are the truth is that Tesla full self-driving is extremely good. Is it as good as it needs to be to have fully driverless cars? Not quite yet, but it's getting there. Tesla stock rose by nearly 10% to $355 US. That's a rise of $15 billion US. So that's a big positive response. Musk staked Tesla's short-term future in autonomous vehicles, betting on robotaxis. But the truth is, guys, this is not accurate. People telling you this, Tesla's stock, if it's going to do what Cathie Wood says it is, she's saying it's going to go to $2,600 US. If it does that, it's not because of robotaxis. Because don't get me wrong, that's going to make lots of money for companies. It's not going to make anywhere near enough to really be the big play. That's the robotics. That's having humanoid robots. The human labor market is worth 30 times more than the automotive industry. 30 times more. That's the big dollars. That's the Tesla excitement. People are thinking, well, if Tesla can do this, they can do robots. While many Tesla fans were initially underwhelmed by the robotaxis unveiling in October 2024, a lot of them turned up and they were pretty stoked. Electric says the only people there were Tesla bloggers who love Tesla, massive brand fans. No one else was allowed to go. You weren't allowed in unless you were a pre-qualified brand fan. That's actually not true. Some of them were there for sure, but it was not just those guys. So let's stick with the facts here. Let's stick to the facts. Tesla fans took to X to praise this new service, and they seemed pretty positive and they were pretty stoked. One user, Fazard, said he was completely mind blown by the fact that the same car I can buy today at around $38,000 is the best-selling car in the world, and it just did a driverless ride around Austin, Texas without someone behind the steering wheel or pedal. He's referring, of course, to the Tesla Model Y, which was what was used. So these are Tesla Model Ys. This is not the Cybercab. That won't come until next year. The implications from this are far-reaching and very disruptive. This breaks transportation, he said. Is that true? Well, maybe not. I'm going to be honest with you. I do think it's true that there's 3 companies in the world that are really doing this well right now. The robotaxi thing, Tesla is not one of them. Tesla's robotaxi service is great, and I think Tesla's going to get to that point. But there are 3 rivals that are doing rides, paid rides, lots of them, thousands of them, and it's really working. Tesla's not quite at that level yet. Another user, Zach, pointed out the tech's potential to make city commuting much more convenient. He said, yesterday it took me almost 30 minutes to find a spot, and today I got dropped off right in front. Now, I agree with Zach. The future of cities I think car ownership will drastically fall because of robotaxis. Could be Teslas, could be other brands. It's going to be a combination, I'd say. That will massively improve the experience trying to find a park, trying to drive around your city. It's a nightmare. You don't have to deal with that if you don't have to. The cost of ownership also slashed. You can save so much money. So I think that's what will happen. Now, don't have to pay for parking either, he said. Game changing. Musk told US TV network CNBC that his robotaxis are a better bet than rival services such as Google's Waymo, which requires an expensive combination of cameras, radars, and lasers or LiDAR to find their way around town. It's worth pointing out, here's one thing that some websites have said. Others, such as General Motors Super Cruise, rely on heavy General Motors Super Cruise is GM just gave up on that stuff. So yeah, it's not in the same league. Anyhow, getting to this point, right, to say that Musk says Tesla robotaxis are better in terms of cost. They are cheaper. There's no question. It costs Waymo around about $200,000 US dollars per vehicle because they've got to buy a car and retrofit it, and there's production lines doing this stuff, but it's still going to cost them a lot of it. It's still approximately $200,000 US dollars. So the price is very, very different. Really, what Google needs Waymo, Alphabet, what they need is once they've begun making more of these, they start building these cars properly on a proper production line. Properly as in when the car gets produced, not a retrofit after the car's already been produced. That's, I believe, what Alphabet are planning to do. They're not there yet. So the cost is massively different, but the product is quite different. At this point in time, it's true that Waymo has a lot less interventions than Tesla. That's a fact. But doesn't mean Tesla can't get to the point of Waymo, but critics would say Teslas can't handle rain. They can't handle, extreme weather situations, nighttime with rain, nighttime with fog. The cameras will struggle because there's no other sensors that the car can rely on. And we don't know. Tesla might be able to get around that. I'm not sure yet, but they might not. Waymo was the first service to offer commercially available driverless taxi services. Musk says Tesla, they will be better in the long run. And there's been a big feud between Waymo and Tesla. I'd say it's more started from Waymo criticizing Tesla. Waymo, the high-level managers at Waymo have just torn Tesla to shreds publicly. I don't know why they did this. I think it's really poor form. Personally, if I was the CEO and my staff, whether they're my CFO or whatever it is, they made these kinds of comments in the public, I'd fire them immediately. I'd be like, mate, this is not the way I run a public company. This is a public company. Keep your freaking mouth shut. All right? You want to slam someone else, do it to your friend. Do it, you blab about someone to your mates. Do that. If you need to let off steam, that's how you do it. That's unprofessional. Now, of course, Elon Musk is considered unprofessional because he reacts back to them. So it's become a tit for tat. But we can't say Elon Musk is unprofessional and then say they are professional when it's like two school children going at each other, right? You've got to say they're both being unprofessional. So therefore, these people, in my opinion, we criticize Musk. Some people say we should get rid of him because he blabs, right? But maybe we should say the same thing about these Muppets working at Waymo that are just going off in the press saying how shit Tesla's robotaxi service is. You don't really need to do that. It's true that Waymo are winning this race at this point in time. And it's really bad form when you beat your competitor and then you look around and your competitor hasn't finished the race yet and you start mocking them. You start looking at them, you start scorning them. That to me is called being a bad winner. I don't like that. Anyway, what happens to people like that? Well, who was like that? Do we know a recent CEO that just got fired? The CEO of Stellantis. The way that roads have been designed, it's basically for intelligence, biological, neural net, and eyes, Musk told CNBC. That's how the whole road system is designed. It's not designed for shooting lasers out of your eyes. So what will actually work best for the road system is artificial intelligence, digital neural nets, and cameras. When you have multiple sensors, they tend to get confused. And if you get confused, that's what can lead to accidents. I'm not sure I completely agree with that, but I do think that Tesla's strategy is much more cost effective. Could Tesla potentially add radars in the future? They very well could. That's very, very possible. Here's an interesting response, though, to all of this. First of all, guys, I've got to make the point. I think this is going well for Tesla. So that's my personal take on this. But in the press today, there's really three companies in the world that have got a lot of robotaxis on the road right now. That's Waymo, that's Pony, and Baidu, right? Baidu. Anyway, basically, the perception is out there in the tech industry that those are the three companies, Waymo, Pony AI, and Baidu. They're the three companies that actually have a lot of robotaxis on the road at this point in time. They all follow the same exact strategy as each other. It's almost identical. They use LiDAR. They use lots and lots of sensors. I mean, lots of sensors and cameras. And their cars, I've seen them in China. I've seen them driving around. To be honest, was shocked. Now, I saw a Pony car when I was doing one of my Xpeng reviews in China. This CEO, he has slammed Tesla, and I saw one of his cars, and I was like, what the fuck is that thing doing? That thing can't drive. Now, maybe I just bad luck, but it just happened that I saw this car, and I'm thinking, that thing's not driving like it should be. It was doing something where I thought, that's not right? It wasn't following the road correctly. And it didn't seem like a difficult scenario to me. So anyway, I remarked at the time thinking, what is going on there? However, maybe that was just bad luck. In the news today, though, Car News China has reported that the co-founder of Pony AI and the chief technical officer, Lu Tancheng, he said Tesla hasn't yet taken a seat at the level 4 poker table. He's basically saying Tesla is not doing that well yet. They've got a long way to go, but in fact, he kind of was a bit more critical than that. Lu is considered one of China's premier programming talents, and he actually used to work for Waymo, and he wants to beat Waymo. He's just committed to bringing Pony AI from China to the US to try and beat Waymo. He said this: level 2 advanced driver assistance systems, he's referring to Tesla, despite their increasing market penetration, fundamentally differ from level 4 technology, and that the better level 2 is, the further away it is from level 4. And the better level 2 is. If you get better at level 2, you become further away from level 4. Interesting. According to Lu, the level 4 table has clear criteria, driverless operation, and scalability. But I don't know if it's scalability. Are these robotaxi companies making these fairly expensive robotaxis? Are they scalable? They are, but at a price, at a pretty high price. I mean, 5 of them cost you $1 million, right? He asserts that only 3 companies globally currently meet these standards: Waymo, Baidu, and Pony AI. He also revealed that Waymo had explored and abandoned level 2 technology around 2013, 2014 because users often mistook level 2 systems for fully autonomous level 4 capabilities, which poses a big safety concern. In other words, he's saying Tesla's technology poses a big safety concern. Do you guys agree? I don't agree with that, but do you guys? Let me know what your thoughts are. Lou explained that true level 4 driverless operation requires a level of safety and reliability that is, in his words, orders of magnitude higher than level 2 systems, often taking 6 to 7 years of dedicated development. In other words, he's saying Tesla is 6 to 7 years away from getting to level 4. He highlighted a vacuum period in the industry where significant internal technological advancements occur. But the external perception of progress remains stagnant because a safety driver is still present. This period, he believes, is why companies struggle to reach the level 4 table. He seems to be suggesting Teslas should have safety drivers in them for 6 or 7 years. That seems a bit excessive. While acknowledging Tesla's seriousness as a player in this industry and its alignment with some of Pony AI's technical judgments, Lou pointed out that Tesla's current deployment of 20 vehicles is very few and does not qualify. The vehicles are not good enough to be level 4. He said a company needs at least 100 vehicles operating around the clock 24 hours a day and to be open to the public to be considered a serious level 4 player. What do you guys think? I mean, he could be accurate. They don't have many cars yet, but it might not take long. This could happen by the end of the year, possibly. Lou said that Tesla's initial deployment in Austin, and actually, before I go on, I should point out, he's referencing the fact that Tesla vehicles are not operating 24 hours. So, during the night time, during all road conditions. Lou noted that Tesla's initial deployment in Austin, Texas, a city with minimal rain and pedestrians, mirrors Waymo's early approach. This choice of location is often strategic for autonomous driving companies, as simpler environmental conditions allow for easier testing and validation of the technology before expanding to more complex scenarios. While understandable, this cautious, phased rollout further demonstrates that Tesla is still in the early stages of level 4 robotaxi development compared to companies operating at scale in diverse environments. I should point out as well, Pony AI went public in November 2024 with a market cap of $4.5 billion, a tiny fraction of Tesla's. And I also should point out that There are some problems with these so-called leaders in the full self-driving industry. They are leading, I think it's fair to say, but in one way they're certainly not. Now, yes, they do have lots of robotaxis on the road. Apparently, they're pretty good. I haven't really used the ones in China. Like I said, I saw one. I was a bit skeptical, but reports are they're pretty good. There's one area though that they're clearly not good at: driving outside a high definition map. Without a high definition map and knowing the roads, in other words, if there's changes to the roads, things change, they don't know what to do. They don't have the brain to handle that. As far as I know, and I've done a lot of reading on this, they are not made to have Elon Musk is referencing the brain of Tesla's cars. He's saying the brain of a Tesla car, it can enable it to drive anywhere. It can drive wherever you want it to go because it can work things out as it goes along. Whereas the competition, Baidu, Pony, and Waymo don't have that capability, which is true. They don't. They have to drive within defined, mapped, high-definition mapped environment. Will that be a problem for them in the future? It might not. They might be able to work out how to solve that issue. I don't know. But I've got to say at this point in time, whilst it's true, I think, to say that Waymo, Baidu, and Pony are ahead of Tesla, in one area, it's also true to say that Tesla is ahead of them. And it's also worth pointing out that none of those three companies actually make cars themselves. So their cost of manufacturing these vehicles is far, far higher, and making alterations and doing all those kind of changes, kind of technologically innovating a vehicle from the ground up to be a robotaxi, to be efficient, is completely different. The cost per mile in the long run will be a big factor. This needs to be considered. If it costs you as a manufacturer, this is going to be a big difference. People are not, I haven't seen this mentioned on electric even once. Big difference, right? If you have a cybercab and the efficiency of that vehicle is, say, twice as good as the efficiency of a Jaguar I-Pace Waymo vehicle, and that's realistic. It's, in fact, could be even better than twice as efficient, but let's say it's twice as efficient. In a few years' time, if Tesla can get to that point where they can offer a full robotaxi service, if their cost of driving per mile is 50% lower, and they make the car themselves, and the car is more reliable, which almost any car is more reliable than a Jaguar I-Pace. I know Waymo have some other brands as well, but let's be real here, guys. They're not their own vehicles. Tesla has some big advantages. So it's important to recognize truth from fiction. Both companies are doing it different ways, and both of these ways have advantages. Certainly, Google is already making money from this. They're doing a great job. But there's some serious limitations to their business model, and the same applies to Tesla. So I hope that kind of wraps this up, makes sense of it. I'm kind of sick of seeing the really bull Tesla fans pointing out all the positives and none of the setbacks. But the same applies to the haters. Some of these haters are so emotional. They are not interested in facts at all. They present facts as though they present emotions as though they're facts. But this happens from both sides. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Bye-bye.